evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. I'm Papa Boris, and playing some more Pillars of Eternity. In the previous video, we took over the Stronghold, so let's start this video by explaining what the Stronghold is. Most Pillars of Eternity players will agree that the Stronghold was a pretty cool concept that didn't quite work out right. It's not awful, but it's not really all that exciting either. The idea is that this is basically a gold sink. You're going to make tons and tons of money in this game. You're going to be overflowing with money, and this gives you a place to spend it all. So basically, you can restore parts of the Stronghold. Now, as you restore parts of the Stronghold, several things happen. First of all, you increase your prestige and your security. Prestige increases the chance of positive events happening in your Stronghold, while security decreases the chance of negative events happening in your Stronghold. Pretty much everybody agrees that how these exactly are implemented is pretty wonky and doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just eventually going to get everything. Now, there's stuff that you can buy that gives you bonuses for resting at the Stronghold. There's stuff that you can buy that will give you access to quests, different types of shops, bonus items at the Stronghold. And you can also get some events here, like for example, there's the dungeons, which doesn't give you any prestige or security, but it allows you to take prisoners. I'm not going to bother with this. Pretty much everyone agrees it's just not that exciting and more or less a waste of time. But, it's kind of nifty. It's a nifty diversion. You'll be called back. There will be a guest who comes here, and you have to talk to them and deal with their shit. And then there's a story about the Stronghold, and you have to fight a battle to protect it. So, there's some interesting stuff that happens, and we'll definitely take the time to do that. And because there's just not enough other uses for gold, I am going to sink my gold into the Stronghold in order to, unlock everything. So at the beginning, you get the opportunity to buy an Eastern Barbican for free. Everything else costs gold. And the nice thing about this is that, well, it lets you move on to the next city in the world map. So this is kind of like a plot wall where you can't go to the next city until you build this thing. Now we get to make our first decision of what to purchase. And the number one priority, I think, is the stuff that gives you free resources, because the earlier you get them, the earlier you get free resources to use. There is let me see if I can find it here. So the merchant stalls give you merchants, but they don't actually give you any bonus free stuff. Craft hall, it's the curio shop. There it is. So every turn you get a random creature part. Now, turns are kind of a weird mechanic. Basically, every time you turn in a quest, a turn passes at the Stronghold. Now, the stuff that you build takes time to complete. The main keep takes 3 days. So this is real time in the game. As you travel around and it takes days to pass between maps, time passes and then you finish construction. But turns are an alternate unit of time. So it's not like you get a free creature part every day, but rather every turn, which means only when you turn in a quest, which makes sense. Although it does mean that you can turn in 3 quests at once and 3 turns will pass all of a sudden. It prevents the player from just, generating infinite amounts of free resources via these curio shops by simply traveling between maps. Is there anything else? I can't remember if there's anything besides the curio shop that gives you free things. Maybe there is. Oh yeah, here it is. The Botanical Garden gives you a random plant. Now the Botanical Garden requires the Bailey, and the Curio Shop requires the Western Barbican, and the Western Barbican requires the main keep, and the Bailey also requires the main keep. So a lot of this stuff ultimately requires the main keep for you to get. You can also delay that a bit by getting Bright Hall Restoration, which is a pretty convenient upgrade, because what this does is it lets you rest at the Stronghold, and that's very, very nice. Otherwise, you can't rest here without using camping supplies. I'm not super concerned about this, though, because I'm about to leave, so I don't really care about the resting supplies. So that's fine by me. We'll just let this be what it is, and I'm going to start with the main keep. So we're going to purchase that, and it'll take 3 days for that to finish. Then we're going to go for the Bailey, the Curio Shop, and the whatever other thing was that gave us free shit. Also, we now have a treasury right here, which currently has nothing in it. But when you collect taxes, and when you get free stuff, and when you get other rewards, all that stuff is going to go into the treasury. One thing that's really cool about the Stronghold as well is that any companion that you are not using, which can include the generic ones that you hired at an inn, hangs out at the Stronghold, and they actually get to do stuff. They actually get to perform quests for you. Now, as far as I can tell, it doesn't really matter which companion you assign to a quest. It'll always be successful, and you'll always get the rewards. But that companion gets some bonus experience, and it's just like, you know, if anything else, it's like a nifty narrative way of putting your extra people to good use. So we need to go to Defiance Bay to continue the main story, and you have kind of a choice here as a player. You can either go to the Wood End Plains and continue with the main story, or you can go back to Gilded Vale and do more stuff around here. In particular, we can take out the evil Lord Raedric if we go back to Gilded Vale and follow that storyline. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, partially because, I don't know, story-wise, I didn't feel a whole lot of urgency to go here. It's like, yeah, I'm a watcher and mysterious things are happening to me, but I don't know, it didn't feel that urgent. Other people report differently. I've seen people online say they felt it was very urgent to take care of their soul issues, but I didn't feel that way, so I'm going to go back to Gilded Vale. We have some quests to turn in anyhow. Now, if you're going to min-max your Stronghold, you want to try to like go back and forth between maps to finish construction of things, to increase your prestige and security, to increase how much money you make from taxes. I am not going to bother with that. I'm not going to min-max and like save all my quests to turn in at once or any of that stuff. We're just going to go ahead and turn things in. So I think one thing that we need to do is, yeah, we need to go to the Black Hound Inn here. And, oh, wait a minute, hang on. I'm missing something. We're gonna come back here in just a bit. Let's go up to the Valewood for a second, because there's a couple of little things that we want to do up here. We have to rescue the cook from some bandits. We need to kill a bear in a cave, and then we can come back to Gilded Vale and turn in all our quests. Let's do that. I actually haven't even explored this map. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and explore it here. Now, at this point, the party is rather over-leveled, so I don't even have to use any abilities to kill this stuff, which, you know, if this kind of stuff bothers you, then definitely make sure that you come back here earlier, like before going to Cad Nua. Make sure that you come here and do all this stuff. Ooh, there's something hidden over there. Nice. Ooh, Ring of Protection. How lovely. All right, let's go ahead and get everything else. Here we have a little bit of a scripted interaction. To get up here, you either need to use a grappling hook or scale the wall. To scale the wall, you need endurance, or sorry, not endurance, you need athletics. So as long as somebody has athletics, you're good to go. And Eder has been getting a lot of athletics, so he can climb up there. And we can save the grappling hook. So here we get some camping supplies, which is great because I used mine up. And +2 dexterity gloves, which I think are going to go to my barbarian. So everything else can go in the stash. There's also some ingredients up here. Are you an ingredient? Yes, you are. Get some blood moss. Okay, that's that. Let's go ahead and climb down. Oh, you know what? I just realized I think I've had a mistake going on for quite some time here. These boots do nothing. Yes, because I have these robes that I put on for endurance that give plus constitution, and stat bonuses don't stack. So let's go ahead and give the boots to Adair. Yeah, they actually do something. 1 endurance. Oh, we're sorry, 1 constitution actually gives them 4 health and an extra 18. Sorry, 4 endurance and an extra 18 health. I'm sorry, I'm not using these terms very properly. Okay, so we'll do that. That's actually over. Doubling up with this amulet. I'm not getting a reflex bonus. This is staying at 37 because I have another item giving me that 37 bonus. So we'll just stick this amulet. Honestly, this is such a crappy amulet. I'm just going to put it in the stash and sell it. It's just such garbage. And then we're going to equip these gloves, and I do believe those should give me dexterity. Yep, you can tell because the reflex is going up by 4. Okay, perfect. So that's taken care of. Now let's climb back down. And it's time to fight some bandits and free the imperiled cook. Why is the fighter never in the front? Why is he always everywhere but the front? I just don't understand. Alright, that guy was keeping watch, and the first thing that he watched was his own death. So good for him. Pick up a lot of stuff to sell for later. Excellent. So here we have an outlaw and a couple of bandits. This is not going to be a problem. I guess we'll just use our abilities for the hell of it. See if Oh, actually, hang on. Let's have the rogue shoot at that guy, so that he's not just raining damage upon the party. Wizard, shoot your stuff. Oh, and the rogue actually took that bandit down all by himself. Good job, Durham Woodman. Way to go. Way to be a team player, a contributor to the party.
Good day, stranger.
So we rescued the cook and leveled up, it seems. So we'll have to do that at some point. Have to. I'm mad about leveling up. Oh, I gotta level up and get better at stuff. Oh, Jesus Christ, my life is terrible. Let's, I'm gonna run up here. I'm like 90% sure there's nothing here, but let's just go here anyway.
They'll never know I'm here.
Oh, no, did I say there was nothing up here? Oh, got some more blood moss, motherfucker. Okay. Worth it. Totally worth it. Okay. Let's go ahead and save. Now, can we cross here? Can we get this body? Can we get this corpse? No, I guess it's just a body. Oh, what do we have over here? What's this stuff? Settler's arrow. That's the good shit right there. Man, I don't know if Adair even got a swing off before that wolf crumpled. Poor
nice
wolf.
And quiet.
Alright, so that's that. And okay, we just gotta go up here. All I think is up here are some Zorips. And then a cave. And then the cave is important because there's a bear in there and also a recently murdered man. And we're going to find out his story using our Watcher skills. And that'll complete another quest in Gilded Vale. So we'll take out the Zorips over here first. Are there any difficult ones? It's all just regular old Zorips. So this should not be too difficult. If there were some champions or skirmishers here, that would maybe be more of a problem. But since they're just generic Zorips, we're good to go. Oh, they killed somebody. Are there any hidden things? Do you Zorips hide any treasures? You sure do. Nice. Okay. So now we're gonna go over here where there is a cave. And that should be pretty quick. This is a pretty small map. Remember, this map is a lot more interesting if, like, because remember, we passed through this map by ourselves. You're here by yourself at first, coming from the ruins. And if you try to solo the map, it's quite a bit more interesting. The fights against the wolves and whatnot are quite protracted. Okay, so we gotta fight a bear. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the rogue. Let's just go ahead and blind this bear. Sucker punch. Oh, wow, that may have been a bad idea, because now this young bear is coming to maul the rogue. Alright, well, we'll see if we can keep the rogue alive. Let's daze the young bear. The barbarian's whacking at the bear. Let's have the rogue shoot the bear as well. Yeah, the poor young bear got just gibbed to smithereens. Poor cub. Never even had a chance to grow up, go to college, have sex with a female bear. Never got to enjoy any of the joys of life. Ooh, there's some secret stuff
I wonder
here.
what this is.
Nice. Alright, cool. And then there is a vision. So it turns out that the man wasn't just killed by a bear, but he was betrayed by his friend. I'll find him and see that he answers for what he's done to you. Now, there's this corpse here. It's so annoying. This corpse is highlighted like you can do something to it, but you can't. Can't loot it. Can't be looted. So frustrating. And there's also a spear in a treasure chest in a cave, which makes about no sense whatsoever. But anyway, so that's that. Now, for real this time, we're going to go back to Gilded Vale and turn in some quests. This should also make a bunch of turns pass at the stronghold. And again, if you were going to min-max, you'd be like, well, I want to walk back and forth between maps 5 times to make 3 days past a pass in order to, you know, get the main keep finished, which increases my prestige and security, which makes me collect like 2 extra coppers from taxes. You could do that if you wanted to, but I just really can't be bothered, so I'm not going to. That's just how I'm gonna play. That's what I keep saying it, but I love how you can play this game how you want to. You don't have to feel like you know if you don't min max, then you're missing out on anything good. Okay, so let's go ahead and check in with Afra. She's the sister of Kalisha. Remember, Kalisha was that fighter in the beginning who died because she couldn't be bothered to take 2 steps backwards into a cave before the soul-shearing wind sheared her soul. So we're going to go ahead and tell this lady that the potion isn't really real, and she still gives us some 10 coppers. Wow. The minor cloak of protection is not bad, and I'll always take some experience. Do you have anything good to steal? Some grain and some garbage. Okay. Can I talk to you anymore? Alright. It's a very dire situation, because remember, in this city, if you give birth to a Hollowborn, then the crazy lord will kill you. So that's bad, because all the babies are being born Hollowborn, so being pregnant is basically a death sentence around these parts. But we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. We will murder the Lord. I don't know exactly what triggers it, but after you complete a certain number of quests, or maybe it's when you have a certain reputation in Gilded Vale, which you increase by completing the quests, this rebel with a cause shows up and asks you to kill Lord Raedric.
How do you do?
So let's go here. Now we're going to do a couple of different things here. First of all, let's rest. Get all of our stuff back. And that completes the task. Late for dinner. Let's talk to the cook. He gives you a reward, which I'm not going to use because I don't care about food, so it doesn't really do anything of value to me. But the next thing we'd like to do is why am I talking to this lady? I'm going to see what she has for sale. So there's a couple things I want to do here. One is I want to sell off all my crap. Does she really not buy this stuff? Why is it all gray looking? No, she'll buy it. I don't know why it looks all weird. We can sell off his grimoire. Remember, you can keep grimoires and load them with different spells than the ones you normally use to have more flexibility, but I just can't be bothered, so I'm not going to bother. But you can do that instead of selling off the grimoires for 100 gold. Let's get rid of all the scrolls. Let's get rid of all of the pelts and tattered notes and whatnot. Man, I only have 1 grappling hook and 1 hammer and chisel. I gotta find some more of these. This is the ellipsis tab. It's good to buy these from shopkeepers whenever you can because they're very cheap, and sometimes you need them in order to complete quests. I have 12 wolf hides. That is ridiculous. I would much rather have 60 coppers. Thanks, game. Okay, so we get a big pile of copper here, which is gonna go away faster than you might think because we're gonna be purchasing stuff at the stronghold. Oh, and also, hang on a minute.
Welcome.
I need to reroll some characters. Yes, this is why I was delaying leveling up. We need to reroll some characters here. So, oh shoot, I gotta figure out who I need to reroll. Pretty sure I need to reroll Durance. Yeah, I hate this. The default talent that he gets is Bear's Fortitude, which is so stupid. I mean, plus 10 Fortitude is whatever, but there are better things you can get. I think we already did Aloth, and then Kana also needs to be rerolled. Ancient Memory is actually I might not need to reroll him. This is a pretty good one, but what it does is in when he's chanting, which is all the time in combat, allies within the range of the aura constantly regenerate health, which is another good reason to have him sort of in the middle of your party, because then it makes your frontliner people constantly regenerate in, admittedly a small amount of endurance, but it is something, and it matters more the longer the fight goes on. So I guess I'm actually going to keep that. That's his talent. His abilities are whatever. His spells are fine. I guess this is one of those characters that does not need to be re-rolled. I pretty much always re-roll all of the companions, but he's fine. Okay, so in that case, we only need to re-roll the priest and get rid of that stupid Bear's Fortitude. And I wanted to do this before leveling up because obviously the higher level you are when you do this, the more expensive it is to respec. Part of this, by the way, will be leveling him up to 4, which is fine. So, what do we want with this priest? Well, I don't care about lore for people other than myself because I don't care about using scrolls. We'll give him a stealth because why not? And then we're going to start pumping up survival, try to get him up to 7 so that he can get +2 damage resistance. All right, now his class talents are pretty interesting. I'm a big fan of, I believe, Inspiring Radiance. Yeah, what this does is it makes it so that all of your allies who get affected by his encounter power that heals them, it also gives them plus 10 accuracy for a decent chunk of time, and that increases everybody's damage output significantly, you know, or it increases the party's damage output pretty significantly. So I like having this here. I'm gonna take that. There's another good talent as well, which is Interdiction. This is a once per encounter dazing ability. Now, for the longest time, I was not that impressed by this because I was like, well, it's just dazing for only 8.8, basically 9 seconds. It doesn't even do any damage, and it's basically the same thing the wizard does, only it doesn't do damage, and it's only once per encounter, so what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is the radius is gigantic. This is a huge radius, so you get to daze everything, and that really dramatically increases both your party's damage output because dazed enemies have... Oh, you know what? Hang on a minute. It doesn't really increase your party's damage output, does it? Because being dazed does not make you... it doesn't lower deflection like I thought for a second. But it does increase the party's output if you have... a damage output if you have a rogue, because it turns on sneak attack. And it also reduces the incoming damage because when you lower attack speed by 15% and accuracy by 10, it reduces the incoming damage. So I like this one a lot. So we'll be taking his class talents basically because his damage output sucks, and so I don't really care about like giving him, you know, bonus to accuracy or whatever. So we'll take the Inspiring Radiance here, and I think we are level 4, so we're going to take the other one when that happens. Let's go ahead and pump some points into survival, and then we get some new spells, and now we can get there with survival. You can take a bonus first level spell if you want. I'm not going to, although it's not a bad choice because as long as you're actually using your all your spells before resting. So we're gonna take this Interdiction, and this also is nice because it gives them something to do, you know, in the battle. Like you can actually like use another ability, which makes them a bit more interesting to have as a character. Okay, so that's nice. I guess how much time have I got? We're only at 22 minutes. Yeah, let's go ahead and level up everybody in this video as well, now that I've done all my rerolls. So here's my Barbarian. We're going to keep going with lore. I'm trying to get up to 10 to unlock all the dialogue choices. And now we have some options here. So we've seen these before. So Greater Frenzy is really stupid. It gives a very minor bonus. Accurate Carnage, it gets less and less valuable over time because Carnage gets +1 accuracy automatically every level. The Defiance, Stalwart Defiance, however, this is new, and this is quite good. So what this does is, in addition to making your Defiance heal you a lot over time, it also buffs all of your defenses by 10 for a really long time here. So that's a very, very strong ability because you can activate it at the beginning, get hit less, and if you do get hit, you're healing through it for like pretty much the entire length of time for most battles. And then there's Barbaric Blow, which I'm always tempted by because it gives you something else to do, but it's just basically a basic attack with chance of more damage. I just can't get that excited about it. Have I taken two-handed? I have. So I've got the 15% bonus for the two-handed weapon style. There are some other offensive talents you can take to increase your damage. So like Vulnerable Attack makes you attack slower but bypass damage resistance. Overall, that increases your damage output. Then there is, I think, yeah, Savage Attack, which takes a penalty to accuracy but increases your damage. These are modals, so you can turn them on and off, but the aggressive ones do stack with each other. So you can take that. And of course, you can also take Weapon Focus. Weapon Focus gives you +6 accuracy with a group of weapons. And quite reasonably, you could take Peasant because the only other reach weapon is a pike. And, you know, if I ever do decide to use a pike instead of a quarterstaff, I can respec and then get what is it as the pike? Soldier. And it's not the end of the world to just take both of these talents and then have the +6 accuracy no matter what weapon I use, whether it's a pike or the quarterstaff. +6 accuracy, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. If it's something that you just take and it just is there all of the time, it never goes away, it's kind of a big deal. I just find that really boring, so I like to take the more fun stuff first. So we're going to take the Stalwart Defiance here to give us these defense boosts when using our healing ability. Okay, so that was the Barbarian. Next up is the Warrior. This one, I think, should be pretty fast. How much athletics is too much athletics? We'll do it. we'll keep going. I don't know how much I really need. These we've seen before. I don't really care about them. So for offensive, I am going to have him take these offensive talents to just boost damage. You could go defensive, but I'm going to wait. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should take this. This is a nice one. It lets you engage an extra enemy, so it makes you a little bit stickier at the front lines. Yeah, we'll take it. And then after that, we'll go full damage. Okay, next up is our wizardy friend. So he's our mechanist, so no options there. We're definitely going to keep on going. And now we get to pick another level 2 spell, just the one this time. So the main one I really wanted that I couldn't take before was Ray of Fire. This is a pretty tough ability to use. You have to get up close. Its range is only 5 meters. And it damages your allies. But it's a lot of damage. It lasts for 10 seconds, and it deals damage every second. So while 1017 might not look a whole lot, it's actually a lot if you multiply it by 10. And it damages everybody in between, too. So in those situations where you can get a bunch of enemies kind of all in a row, and your allies aren't in the way, this can be a significant damage boost, and it can turn the fight around. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And we also do get a talent here. Now, at this point, for offensive talents, there's not a whole lot. This is obviously only melee. I'm not using a gunner. Dangerous Implement, just, it's so frustrating because it gives you more damage, but you take 3 raw damage every time you attack with implements, so that seems really, really crappy. And then you can take, I guess, Penetrating Shot to attack slower but get some damage bypass. I'm going to grab, I like this one a lot, Arcane Veil. I'm not sure how good it actually is. You can use it twice per rest, and for 13 seconds, it gives you a whopping 50 bonus deflection. It's a lot of deflection. So if something does break through the back lines, you can pop this. It is an instant speed ability, and just, you know, basically tank the enemy for a while. It's a convenience thing. I like having it. I mean, bonus first level spells, also obviously totally fine. But I like having this just in case something does break through the back lines. I don't want to have to deal with the inconvenience of fighting off the enemy. So I'll take it even if it's not the most optimal choice. We got to level up our rogue here, so we'll keep going with survival. And then we get an ability, because this is an odd level for the rogue. Remember, the rogue is 1 level behind everybody because I hired him at the tavern. So we can take Crippling Strike, which is the other level 1 ability, and get 2 of those per encounter. Hobbled is not that great of an effect. On top of that, I get a penalty to the duration, so I'm not that excited about it. Then there's Reckless Assault, which is a modal thing. So this unfortunately only works for melee. You just wreck your deflection, but you get more accuracy and more damage. So the damage output on this is crazy, and this is actually another reason to prefer melee rogues, because range rogues don't get this huge damage boost. Lacking that, I don't really care too much about this escape thing. It lets you move and get a bonus to deflection and reflex for a time. We're just going to grab Dirty Fighting. It's very straightforward. 10% of your hits are crits, so we're just increasing damage output. Can't complain about that. Last up is good old Kana. And so this is one reason, I guess, to maybe want to reroll him, is to get rid of all these points in lore. But it's not a big enough deal. So I'm going to put 1 point in athletics just to give him that second wind. And then the rest is just going to go into survival. Okay, so we get to pick another invocation. We already have the good ones, the ones that summon the skeletons and the ones that stun everybody. I guess we'll do this to also be able to summon a phantom. I don't know if a phantom's better or worse than the skeletons. One problem with Chanters is there's not a whole lot of class-specific talents. So this makes it so that the Ancient Memory thing that we have gives more endurance regeneration, 0.9. It's whatever. I'm not that jazzed about it. So we'll go ahead and grab an offensive talent. Since he is using guns, let's go for Gunner, which increases reload speed and increases his damage output. Marksman also is a fine choice to give bonus accuracy against instant enemies, but the Gunner, I think, matters more if you're using a gun. I could be wrong about that. I haven't done the math. It's actually kind of complicated in this game. The combat math in this game, that is maybe the one thing about this game that I like less as compared to the original Infinity Engine games, is that the combat math is so complicated. Like, you look right now, and even if you don't want to do the math yourself, if you're like, okay, I don't care what the math is, I just want, like, somebody to tell me, you know, what's better, dual wielding or a two-handed weapon, and people still don't agree. Like, the consensus is still not there just because it's so complicated. I'm going back in the tavern because I forgot to do this quest. So there's these villagers, remember, who are pissed
Hello.
because the miller is giving them bad grain prices. And you can buy them around, then they'll talk to you and agree to back off. And then you go back to the miller, and he's all happy. Or you can attack and just kill them. Or you can basically threaten them, and then they back off. So I don't know if there's a way to side
Hail, traveler.
with the villagers. I think you maybe have to like go
Well
back
met,
after
friend.
talking to them, and then talk to the miller. But I really just couldn't care less. It's a very interesting moral dilemma. I think, like, as a vignette, it's a pretty interesting story and just one of the many examples of fine writing in this game. But in this particular playthrough, in the interest of time, since I spent so much time talking about mechanics and leveling up and all sorts of stuff, we'll just skip past the vignettes and let it be. Alright, so now we're gonna turn in a couple more quests and wrap up this video. The next thing to turn in is here in this house. This is where the guy who murdered his friend in a bear cave is about to run away with the guy's wife. And spoiler alert, it turns out that the guy he murdered was actually a terrible, abusive husband and a bad man. And so you can choose to be like, well, you guys should still be punished because murder is murder. Or you can be like, oh, okay, I understand, so I guess I'll just let you go. I'm going to go ahead and be nice to them. Deepity boop. Keep the money, use it to start your new life. And then give us a minor ring of deflection. And then we can take all the crap in their house. Alright, so that's that quest done. We also need to go to the blacksmith and give him his shipment, which we found out in the woods, taken over by bandits. And if you wanted to, if you like weren't spending your money buying spells and rerolling your characters and purchasing the main keep for the stronghold, you could actually maybe buy one of the Smith's unique weapons here. I don't think any of them are particularly incredible, but
Welcome.
that is a thing that you could do if you wished. Alrighty. He gives you a weapon, or he gives you a pretty good unique shield. If you are using shields, then you might actually end up using this for a while. It's a large shield. They give a big boost to deflection, but a big penalty to accuracy, but it gives bash, which means that you kind of treat it sort of like an extra weapon in your offhand because you attack with it. Anyway, I don't use shields, so I'm just going to sell this back to him. So thanks, but no thanks, buddy. And I think we do have some more things to sell. I think I picked up some junk, didn't I? Like this wizard's double potion and this book. And don't you have... Yeah, here we go. Pry bar and a rope and grappling hook. We will be happy to have had these things later. Okay, so let's go ahead and sell that stuff. We could... Oh, there's a bronze horn figurine, which once per rest summons an animat. So that's like a thing you could buy if you had the money to spare and wanted to spare it for that purpose. What was I looking at here? Thought I was looking at something. Oh yeah, so you can buy some of these items here, the deflection and protection. The problem is these minor rings are just bad because you eventually find regular ones that give a bigger bonus and the bonuses don't stack. This is actually a pretty decent belt, so I could see buying this because it's a pretty affordable price. I could actually buy it right now. It gives some damage reduction to most of the melee weapon types. This is only missing crush damage. But I'm not going to. I'll just save that money so that we can always hit our stronghold stuff, and eventually we'll be swinging money, and I can either come back and get this if I want to, or I can just use a better belt that I found by that point. I think that's all I wanted to do here. Yep. Let me just take a quick look at what items my characters are using. Oh, I guess I should put this stuff on. So we got bonus deflection. Let's give the barbarian some deflection, because her deflection is... a little bit bad, so we'll give her that help. And that's a cape of protection. We'll give that... hang on a second. He's already got the ring of it, so we'll go ahead and give that to somebody, just so that they have those bonuses. Okay, perfect. So that's all we wanted to do there. And the last thing, here in Gilded Vale, we're gonna pay the visit to the miller and let him know that we got those crazy villagers off his back. And I don't even know if the miller gives you anything all that good. It's just an extra quest to turn in to make another turn pass at your stronghold. Okay, here's the guy who wants me to kill the evil lord. I don't need that much convincing because the lord is pretty damn evil, hanging people in a giant tree in the middle of town. Okay, there we go. We'll do that in the next couple of videos. I don't think I can get there and clear out the Lord in a single video. So we'll have to do that in the next few videos. Oh yeah, there's one more quest in town. The Eothasian Temple. We'll have to do that in the next video, and then after that, we'll start to try to kill the Lord. So there's quite a lot to do here in this first act before you even get to your first major city, if of course you want to do it. But if you don't want to do it, then you don't have to. All right, keep your money, bud. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and/or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.